Hey guys, I have decided today to bring you along on my Thanksgiving centerpiece creation. So I just have like really random stuff this week, but I figured it would be fun to make a centerpiece. So I have my vase, my little compote dish is what I call them, and I love working with these. I think they're gorgeous. I have my floral foam and I have it wet, and I actually taped it in. I don't usually tape. I try not to if I don't have to move it, but I am taking this to my sister's house for Thanksgiving, so I want to make sure that along the way, as I drive like a mad woman, because I'll probably be late, it won't overturn and completely spill out, so that I have to arrange it again, because who has time for that on Thanksgiving? So I actually just put a cross of tape, so it's not really gridding, because I don't need to grid this arrangement because I have the floral foam and it'll hold as I stick in. So like I said, I only have really random stuff today, so it's going to be a Mod Podge of a Thanksgiving centerpiece here, but we'll get started in a while. So I'm going to start with some greens, and I don't have tons of greens, but I'll show you guys what I have, okay? So I have some Israeli ruscus, not too many pieces, but just a couple, okay? So we're going to use some Israeli ruscus. And then I also have a good amount of baker's fern, so we're definitely going to put some of that in there. I actually love baker's fern. It fills things out really fast. So if you're a bride on a budget, which most people are, think about baker's fern if you need to fill stuff up fast, like arches or centerpieces, and I know greenery is a really big thing these days, so that's fantastic. So I'm stepping in gum. So I cut these down, and then I'm actually going to put them pretty horizontal to the whole arrangement. It'll really fill up the table, because at our Thanksgiving, we don't put the table on the food because there's just too much and there's too many of us. So I am going to fill up this table with this arrangement. And it's not completely horizontal, but it is a good amount horizontal to the arrangement versus the vertical, but we will build it up vertical. So, hey Whitney, we'll create a little triangle here of them. And again, I'm not using the tape as a gridding because the floral foam is there. It's not going to have any issues sticking in and staying. Some vases are a little bit tough that way, but this one is not because of the floral foam, so no need to worry on that. So I'm just going to add in a couple more pieces just to really fill it in, because when in doubt, add greens, in my humble opinion. Okay, so we have our arrangement as such. Okay, I'm going to add in some Israeli ruscus. I actually love this ruscus because it is more straight up and down than the Italian ruscus that I use a lot. The Italian ruscus, if I am looking for like a viney look, I'll definitely put that in arrangements. But this one is actually great for boutonnieres because it's so upright that you can just add a little blossom or two and you're good to go. So I'm actually going to cut this down so that I can use multiple pieces of it. So I'm going to cut it right above where the leaves clump together so that it looks like that's part of one, and then I'll do it one more time up here. And then you have 3 pieces off of 1 piece and you're good to go. So I love that. So these guys are going to be a low filler, so I'm just going to stick them in a little bit lower. You'll still be able to see them, but they're not going to be super high like the baker's fern, because we don't need that. I'm going to do the same thing to this one. Really capitalize on using as much as you can of each stem. The trick to floral arranging for most of the time, is that a lot of times people go straight for the blossoms and they don't start with the greenery. The greenery will fill it up. So if you don't have tons of blossoms, then you put it all together and you're like, wow, this is not that big. So I always start with greenery because you add in the focal points after you have a base. It's like decorating the living room before you painted it. It's not gonna look finished and put together and full. So I'm just gonna keep adding some of these in. You don't have to cut them into threes all the time. I'm actually gonna take the last two here and just cut them in half, so there is a little bit of a height difference for the different types of greens here. Okay, so got a base for that. I also have some of this guy, and I actually only have a couple pieces left of him, which is super sad, but it's okay. Here's another ruscus. So I have this guy, and he actually is green on one side of his leaf and red on the other side of his leaf. So it's super fun to use him for this Thanksgiving and Christmas time. So I'm going to pare this down a little bit. Because he has more than just greenery, I'm gonna make the stem, keep the stem a little bit longer and really stick him up in there so that you can really see him and he can add an accent to the arrangement instead of just kind of hanging low and playing it cool. Stick him in right there, and then I just have one piece left. And I'll cut him. Again, I'm cutting, if you can see, I'm cutting right here where the leaf meets the stem so that it looks like we're making a pretend top to it. So that looks like it could be the top. It's not, it's halfway through the stem, and then suddenly you have two pieces to use for your arrangement. I am all for that. It'll be good to have a little bit more height that's not green. Yes, so we added in these kangaroo paws, and I'm just gonna turn it a little bit so you can see that there's not gonna be a back because people are gonna be sitting on both sides of the table. And again, we can't make it super big, but we can make it pretty big because my family keeps the food off the table at Thanksgiving because there's just too much and there's too many of us. So it totally works out to have a slightly bigger centerpiece. It just depends on your table. Someday I'm gonna have to get a bunch of flowers from the grocery store so you guys can see how to bump up those arrangements that you get there, because depending on where you go, they're actually pretty nice. Like Wegmans has really great flowers. They usually have slightly different flowers, not like the sprayed mums and stuff like that and daisies. So sometimes it's fun to go there to get some things. But you know, it's up to you. But I should definitely show you how to kind of bump up those arrangements because you can totally do this yourself. If you're in a pinch, you need a gift for a host. I mean, anywhere I go, I bring the centerpiece. You know, can't not do that. So I'm just gonna use the whole bunch of kangaroo paw. And one more stem here. Okay. And again, I have the floral foam in there so things stay exactly as I put them in. The one thing you need to worry about with floral foam is if you are not super good at putting things in and you put them in, take them out, put them in, take them out, it's gonna make your floral foam like Swiss cheese and it's not gonna hold anything, okay? Let me back you guys up here a little bit since this is getting large. There we go. All right, so we have the base of greens and we have a base of kangaroo paw. Okay, so this is filling up pretty well. Technically, I could almost put this out on the table as is if I didn't have any blossoms. I do have blossoms, so let's get to that part here, okay? All right, so I have some gorgeous red alstroemeria. And you guys, I'm sure I've seen this in the grocery store, the market. If you haven't, then you obviously don't shop for your groceries. Good for you. So, we're gonna snip this down a bit. And we're gonna shed the stem here. And then this guy is actually really great because he will fill up space really fast. Okay. I'm gonna put him over here. And this This guy's bent too much, so I'll just take him off. Okay, remember when you're cutting your stem, you can always cut more. You can't uncut what you've cut. So just remember that when you're cutting your stems, and I am cutting them on an angle, not only because it'll help them drink water, but because it's easier to get them into the actual arrangement if they're cut at an angle with the floral foam. I'm gonna add this guy over here. I really love doing asymmetrical arrangements. This one is not as much. There is definitely a natural flow to it, but I don't usually do anything that's like completely perfectly round unless a bride asks me to do that. I will happily do it. I can do it. It's just not my style choice, so I don't just choose to do it that way. Wonderful. Okay. I'm gonna take just a couple more. So I think we use close to 1, 2, 3, 4 stems. We'll do a nice odd number of 5 stems, and we'll cut this one really short. So I have a low one down here, and then I have 1, 2, 3 high ones. So I'm going to actually turn the arrangement so you guys can see. And I'm gonna put one right down here, okay? So I'm feeling the tape, and we don't wanna do that. Remember, when you're sticking your flowers into the floral foam, to really choke up on it as if you're writing with the utensil. Otherwise, your stems will bend and snap. So I'm just feeling, and I'm putting it in, and there we go. That's one guy right there. All right, now, this is a lot of reds and greens. And anybody who knows me knows I'm obsessed with Christmas, but this is Thanksgiving, and even though my sister does have her Christmas tree up, we are not going to do a Thanksgiving centerpiece or a Christmas centerpiece for Thanksgiving. So I'm gonna come back over here to my secret stash, and I'm gonna get some yellow wax flower. I love wax flower. It's a great alternative to baby's breath, since baby's breath is used so much. If you like baby's breath, more power to you. I do not mind arranging with it, but I would usually suggest using something like wax flower, lemonium, status, something like that, just to give it a different edge, different feel, make you more unique than anything else that's going on, especially in Lancaster County. All right, so we have the yellow wax flower in there. Now, wax flower, when it's broken, smells like lemon. So it's actually a great fragrance. It's not super strong, but if anybody gets really close to it, they'll smell a lemony smell. So if I put it in boutonnieres, the men will see that, or they'll smell that. And it's actually pretty nice. All right, I'm gonna put that over to the side there. So we have reds, we have more of a burgundy red, we have yellow, this golden yellow color, which is so pretty. Now, I don't usually like to do super coordinated colors, especially when it comes to arrangements like this for Thanksgiving and stuff. So I'm actually gonna get, I got in some carnations like 2 weeks ago that are still amazingly fresh. And what I'm gonna do with those is add those in. They're called copper, but they actually have like more of like a purple mauve color, and it's actually really gorgeous. So we're gonna get those. Those are actually over on my fireplace right now, and they're mixed in with some orange tulips from Holland that I got in, and those are also about a week to 2 weeks old, and they're still looking absolutely amazing. So props to Holland for always giving me fantastic flowers. Okay, so that's all of my yellow wax flower. We're gonna turn the bouquet here. See how it's looking. Fantastic. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get those carnations. Okay. Again, these carnations are called copper. but the coloration in these are just jaw-dropping. I love these. This is definitely the style that's been going on these days with weddings, and I really, really, really want a bride that will accept this color. But we'll see, you can only do so much. So we're gonna add some of these guys, and again, these are around 2 weeks old and they're fresh to death. So probably because I keep my house so cold. But I'm gonna pop these guys in here because they are gonna be gorgeous to add less of a kitschy, or less of a traditional, I should say, Thanksgiving arrangement, and add a little bit of that purpley copper mauve color in there. These are gonna be so pretty. I'm gonna cut some of them down. Gorgeous. And then I'm gonna do 2 longer ones going off to the side. They smell like fresh flowers and I love it. Like no done eating. Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna turn this for you so you can see what's going on with it. Beautiful. All right. Next, you know what? I do have these tulips, like I was saying. These are the tulips from Holland. They're absolutely stunning, and I think I might just put a couple in here. I don't necessarily like putting tulips in floral foam just because they don't have the strongest stems, and a lot of times they won't go in properly, then they'll break, and the foam will have holes in it, and I don't know. But they do have a natural flow to them that I really, really love. So I'm gonna take a look in here and really punch that in there and then let that lay on the bigger fern here. Okay, so that's what I'll do with that one. And there's a couple that are just really, really open, close to death, but I think that that is the best time for flowers. They look their most beautiful when they're really close to death because they're showing their absolute glory. And I absolutely love them. Same with roses. They open up and just as they're about to die, that's when they're the prettiest. Okay, get that guy in there. Now he has a natural flow, so I just have to see where his head wants to go. And his head wants to go that way. So then we'll have him go that way. Okay. There's a gap down here of color that I want to fill in. So we're gonna have more of a red, orange tulip down there, and I'll cut his stem pretty short. And that's what he'll be. But we're gonna stick him down low here so that he can shine up at us. You see that right there? So he's looking up at us a little bit more than he would if I didn't cut the stem so short. Okay. I do want to add in this kale. Now, you can see that there's yellowing, so I'm just going to take off those leaves. It's not a big deal. That's just how the kale dies, is from the bottom up, which is good because that means we can save the center really pretty part. So that got a bit smaller, which is totally fine. I don't want it too big for this arrangement. And we're just gonna cut it on an angle. These stems are really thick, but they're not super hard. So that's fantastic. All right, so I'm gonna turn this arrangement because I'm gonna put him over here so you guys can see. And then I'm gonna take him and stick him right in there. And he's like a nice little pop surprise over in the corner there. All right, what else do I have in here? I do have some pink wax flower, which could add another little surprise, not so traditional Thanksgiving. So I'll show you guys that wax flower. Here it is. That's really pretty. So I think I'm gonna put that in there because it's not traditional to Thanksgiving, and that's the reason I like it. So we're gonna put him up where the other wax flower is not. And actually, if we put him next to the copper carnations, he's really gonna bring out that purpley color in there. So we're gonna do that. And it smells so good and lemony. I love it. I love wax flower. All right, so the pink was over here. I'm gonna put the other pink on the opposite side, direct, and he'll just go right down in there, and he's gonna kind of just fill that space there, okay? And then here's a little snippet that I took off of the one stem that wasn't gonna fit into my idea. And we'll just put him down with that tulip on the side that's doing his own thing. Right down here, okay? Sweet, all right. Next, let me see what I wanna do. We'll get some astrantia. Astrantia, I love this. It comes in like maroons and pinks and white. So we're just gonna take a couple stems of this because we do have filler flower in there. And we're just gonna see where we have gaps, okay? So I have a little bit of a gap in here. He's gonna fill up pretty nicely. And I have a gap over here. I don't like gaps. We're just gonna look, make sure as you're doing this, you're looking at it table height. So up here it looks great and full. Down here we're gonna look, and we have a little bit around here that we want to fill in. So what I'm gonna do is take just a little bit of astrantia here and go kind of horizontal like we did with the baker's fern. Okay, and then I'm actually going to, this will be fun, I'm going to take some of this gorgeous red berry. I'm gonna shake it out, make sure there's no loose ones coming off. And then I'm going to have it come down a bit. So I'm gonna actually stick it in high so that when it falls down, it doesn't fall too low, okay? So just remember that. And I'm gonna stick it right there at the top. And now it's coming out like that. And that is gorgeous. Berries in arrangements are my jam. All right, we are gonna come over here. We have another bunch. Shake, shake, shake. I'm actually gonna put that a bit high. You see that over there, okay? So I have one over here, one over here. So I have to do around this side a bit, which I am happy to do with these because they are so gorgeous. I got them in just because I wanted to see what they looked like, and the leaves are all dried, but the berries are perfect. So shake, 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 good to go. And then I'm gonna put it in over here, right around where we put that pink wax flower with the tulip. And we're gonna let him come down right around there, okay? And then I wanna put one, I want to put one a little bit more center in here in the back. So I'm going to try to find one that's not so massive, which might be a little hard to find in this bunch. Let me see. This one's a good one. So this guy, he's not too big. He's actually standing up on his own pretty well. I'm gonna put him right in here as kind of a hidden gem of this arrangement. Right in there, okay? Wonderful. Now, if you can see this, 3 really high, 1, 2, 3 high, and space in here. So I want to fill that in. And I'm gonna fill it in with, I'll take a tulip and see how well this guy does. I might have to take him back out again, but we'll see. I'm actually gonna turn it to myself so that I can really focus on where this tulip is going. that's where I'm gonna stop today. I think this is a good centerpiece for Thanksgiving. I'll just like pull this down. And that's it. That's our centerpiece. What do you guys think? That's it. I'll make sure to post a photo of the finished piece both today and also on my table tomorrow for Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody else, and make sure you guys relax a bit tomorrow. Try not to work. We all deserve a day off every once in a while. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.